Hello, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be flying the ATR 42-600 out of Bhutan. Well, not out of Bhutan, within Bhutan. We're performing a little domestic hop. We're going to be flying from Yongphulla Domestic Airport over to Paro. So before we go any further, let's have a look at the scenery that I have installed here for Yongphulla. And mind you, this is a free scenery that I've picked up from flightsim.to. So you can tell we're in Yongphulla Domestic Airport. And if you can tell, when I moved from side to side, if you look into the windows, they have a nice parallax effect, which I think is a nice touch. And today's route is actually on a poster here within the scenery. And I promise you that is... I did not plan that, but happy accident right there. Drukair Royal Bhutan Airlines. We can see that it's an ATR 42-600. And it's Paro Yongphulla. So yeah, we're performing this exact same flight that is on this scenery. It's going to be really fun today. Here we go. Very nice details of the airport. Very well modeled, especially considering that this is a free scenery. I think this is very nice. I think this is very, very nice. Look at that. Very, very nice. Beautiful stuff. There's a lot of good signs everywhere. Very high fidelity stuff most of the way around. Got a fire station, fire trucks, all well modeled. Very nice details like this. Water tank here, beautifully modeled water tank, to be honest. Look at it. Very, very well modeled. That is so well modeled. Look at that. Brilliant level of detail. It's very good. I don't know, I think they're using a scenery library or an objects library for this. I'm pretty sure this water tank is an object library. Maybe it isn't, but very good nonetheless. Now, look at the runway as well. Very, very nice. Well modeled. Looking very, very good here today. Right? Now let's head on to the other end of the runway. As you can tell, we are perched up basically very high in the mountains. And around us are valleys with steep drops all around. Very, very nice. Anyway, so if we come up here, we can see that there is a nice, lovely modeled stone wall or boulder kind of thing at the edge of the runway, which is quite dangerous, as we came to find out, unfortunately, in the Korean airline, not Korean Air, I meant the Jeju Air incident, or rather accident, quite frankly. So yeah, it is modeled really well though. The textures are quite good, very nice. Got little details like this throughout the scenery, which really adds and gives the airport a nice character of its own, which I enjoy. So it has a lot of these little details. It's really, really beautiful to look at. Okay, so I highly recommend this scenery from flightsim.to for Yongphulla Domestic Airport in Bhutan, if these kind of flights are your thing. All right, brilliant. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a closer look at our aircraft today, which is the ATR 42-600. Now, in full disclosure, guys, this is like my third time attempting to record this video. I have successfully done this flight before, in all honesty, but it's my third time trying to record this video here today. The ATR is such a moody aircraft. You do one tiny thing out of order, and it just refuses to cooperate altogether. So hopefully this time around I'll be able to get it to cooperate with us. And let's take a closer look at this beautiful aircraft. As painful as it is, it's beautiful. Okay, so as you can tell, the details on the aircraft are lovely. The livery is absolutely beautiful. Look at that motif right there, and the colors looking really nice. Drukair livery here, Royal Bhutan Airlines. Realistic flight. Very, very nice. Look at it. Gorgeous aircraft if we can get it up and running. And let's see how it goes. Okay, now the approach into Paro, Bhutan today is also going to be very, very interesting. As a matter of fact, before we get started up, let me show you our route for the day and our approach for the day. Okay, we're in Yongphulla. We're going to take off from runway 30, direct out, no SIDS. We're going to keep going here until we reach, obviously, our arrival, which is an hour nav approach, I believe, into Paro. And we're going to be landing into runway 33. Okay, we're not landing into runway 15, we're landing into runway 33. So, as you can tell, it's a crazy approach. We come in, turn sharp right, we have to wind our way around the mountain through the valleys. And effectively from this waypoint, we have to fly in visually and come into Paro. So this from here on, it's basically memory and visual flying into runway 33 in Paro. If we miss the approach, we're coming in too high, we're going to go round like this and come back in for the very same approach once again. Okay, so very interesting flight here, quite dangerous, surrounded by high terrain and stuff like that. But let's see how we pull through this one. Very well, okay. Very, very well. We have the aircraft in cold and dark, as you can see. Complete cold and dark here. Or did I just move? Okay, I don't need to move that. Let me go ahead and get this aircraft started up for us, shall we? So if we come to aircraft, we can open up our doors here. Before I connect the ground power, I am going to... Come on, why does it do that? Okay, anyway. Okay, let's turn on the batteries here. And we're going to wait. There we go. We're going to wait for those screens to boot up there before we go any further. I don't want the ATR to have any reason to give us any trouble. So let's just wait for that screen to boot up. Apparently it's very important. And I'm not going to bypass that. So let's wait for that to boot up. It should boot up very, very shortly. It takes about 20 seconds or something, if I'm not wrong. Okay, there we go. Much less than 20 seconds, I believe. But anyway. Now let's connect our ground powers. And we're going to turn that on as well. The second we turn on DC, again, we're going to wait for the other three screens to boot up as well. I do not want to rush it in any form or shape whatsoever. So we're going to wait for the three screens to boot up as well. Let that happen. Okay, still waiting here for those three screens. I don't even know what the T stands for. There we go. We've got the screens coming. I'll press that master caution. Going to arm the emergency lights, put the annunciated lights to bright, turn on the nav lights, turn on passenger signs, turn on the crew oxygen, and not the crew oxygen, the main oxygen supply. We can also turn on the AC ground power as well, which is what I've done here, and I'm gonna wait. Now while it happens, and before we program our FMC, as a matter of fact, you know what? Yeah. Right before we switch into hotel mode, let's go to GSX, reload SimBrief. Okay, it says SimBrief doesn't match aircraft, which I don't believe. I'm just going to request the boarding here. For some reason the aircraft isn't matching, but I think that's a mistake. So I've requested boarding here. And let's see how that goes. Has that happened successfully? Let's try that again. Request boarding. Yeah, there we go. So we'll get the cargo to load up and the passengers to board our aircraft. And while that is happening, we're going to go ahead and switch into hotel mode here. To do that, we're going to put the prop brake on. Prop brake is on. We're going to try and start up the aircraft here, okay? Let's turn on the pump here, put it to start A, and we're going to press the start button. And this time, lucky for me, we've got NH rising. Brilliant. NH at 10. I'm going to put the condition lever to feather. And we'll have the engine temperature rising here. So if we come and if we look outside for a second, we'll be able to see the exhaust gases from the engine coming out, which is great. And prop brake is working. Obviously, we don't have the propeller spinning. Brilliant. Okay, we'll jump back inside and let the boarding carry on the way it should. Okay, we're gonna turn on our window heats here. Now, if we advance the condition lever to automatic, we'll have, you know what, we're gonna leave it the way it is for now. So I'm just gonna turn off this crank lever for the time being. I'm gonna leave everything exactly the way it is. I have to remember to turn on the beacon lights before engine start anyway. Let's go towards the FMCs here. And before we do, let's go to the tablet, flight plan, let's import it from SimBrief. We have our flight plan. Let's set the flight plan, set the fuel, and set the payload in the FMC automatically here. And as you can tell, there it is. Now, if we come to menu, if we come there, in it, position in it, GPS, sensors in it. Now, I'm not going through the FMC in detail, just doing what we need to get ourselves up and out of here. There we go. Weights are there. Performance. Let me go to the flight plan for a second. Runway out of Yongphulla is 30. Execute. Runway out of into Paro. We're going to fly into 33 using RNAV Y. So let's select that using the Tash 1. There we go. We're not going to use anything else here. Let's just do that. Now, if we look at our flight plan, that's exactly what we want. 712, 710, we're all good. Let's clear that discontinuity, execute it. Let's go back to menu. Let's come to our performance here. Cruising altitude today is 18,000 feet, not 8,500. At 8,500, we're going to crash into the face of a mountain. I can guarantee you that. Flight plan init, route. Okay, that is all. I'm not going to do anything here. I really am not. Okay. So we've got pretty much everything that we need here. Yeah, it's all looking good. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. And just like that, we're done with all of that. Let's see what's going on outside in terms of passenger boarding. Nothing is happening at the moment in terms of passenger boarding for some reason. I don't know why that is. But cargo loading is happening. So that's a plus. Cargo loading is happening. Our passenger boarding, I believe, has either finished. We've missed it probably. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've missed it. Yeah, pretty much. Because the cargo loading doesn't start till the passenger loading is finished. So pretty sure we missed it. But at least we know that it's done. That's great. Let's go back in there. Can go to the aircraft. We can close up the main door. There we go. Main door closed up, waiting for cargo loading pretty much to finish up. Apart from that, we have nothing else to do here, which is great news. Once it's done, we'll turn on beacon lights, turn on the left engine, release the prop brake on the right engine, and we are up and out of here. We don't need pushback here today, obviously. It's just a tiny airport. We're just going to turn ourselves left and taxi all the way down there to runway 30, and we're going to take off. Nice and easy. Okay. So I'm just going to wait here for the cargo loading to finish up. I'm not going to bore you with the whole cargo loading process, obviously. So I'll join you once the cargo loading is somewhat complete. Okie dokie. We've got our cargo process completed right there. Brilliant. Let's go inside, close up the cargo door. We don't need that anymore. Service door closed too. Brilliant. We're looking good now. We're looking good. Okay. Now that all of that is done, let's go ahead and get our engine started up. That's nothing else to do, right? Great. Okay, let's make sure that our parking brakes, gust lock, all of that stuff is on. That is all looking good. We are ready for engine start. Beacon lights on, please. Passenger signs are on already. Go ahead and start engine number 1 first. Let's do that. Engine number 1 coming to life. NH. 10% on NH. Advancing condition lever to feather. Waiting for NP to start rising. There we go. Our engine's coming to life. Engine's coming to life. Okay. Let's go ahead, wait for NP, that is fine. Let's put that in automatic now. And our engine is starting up. Nice and easy. Okay. Very good. Now that that's done, we can go ahead and uncage our propeller here. Yeah, we can uncage it. We should have released the ground powers, huh? Ah, never mind. So we'll uncage it and we'll recage it, and if we come outside, there you go, the propeller will spin up almost immediately, and we can ask that to go to auto. There we go. Both engines running. Looking good here. And we are good. We can now disconnect the external power. We can disconnect both of them, the DC and the AC. Will wait for this generator 2 to spring to life here. And there it is, TRU on. And let's go ahead and disconnect both the ground powers. Parking brake is on, meaning we can remove, we should have removed the wheel chocks in advance, but anyway, wheel chocks are now removed. Brilliant. Okay, there we go. Gust lock removed. Spool up the engine slightly here. I'm just spooling up the engines a little bit. Okay. That is not too bad at all. Okay, great. Brilliant. Okay. Now that everything is working the way it's supposed to, more or less, what do we have here? Anti-icing. Oh. Do we really need it? Okay. We've got the probe heats on right there. Let's put our the start knob thing to off, start and abort. Beacon lights are on, taxi lights and takeoff and taxi on. Do we need anything else on here? For the time being, no. We're ready to taxi. Great. Brilliant. Okay. Let's go ahead and release our parking brake right now. There we go. Parking brakes have been released. Let's drop our flaps to takeoff position here. Brilliant. Beautiful. Let's open up the throttle slightly. Oh, not by much. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. There we go. What a lovely looking aircraft. It is nice. Okay. There we go. Let's go ahead and taxi onto our departure runway here. Look at that view. Goodness me, that is great, isn't it? Okay. Let me head into the cockpit to make sure that we are in line here. We are in line. That's great. We have a gently upward sloping taxi here today, so I'm just going to crack open the throttle just a little bit. Give us a little bit more of speed as we taxi. Okay, we still have a little bit more to do, which we should have done before we started taxiing, but that's okay. As a matter of fact, while we taxi, we can actually perform some of these stuff. If we come down here to performance, we can go to takeoff data and confirm that takeoff data, and we can start adjusting our trim. There we go. Trim is pretty much adjusted if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it is. Okay, so that's done. Just like that. Just got the throttle there. Can come to surveillance. That on. TA only. There we go. It's not too bad. We're looking just fine. Then we can come and press ND here to get back our navigation display. That is just fine. We can turn on our landing lights already. Looking good. And we're pretty much ready here. We're pretty much ready here for takeoff, ladies and gentlemen. We can get this thing to line up and taxi. We're pretty much ready here for takeoff. Okay. Just gonna crack open the throttle slightly. We're still showing low pitch on the propeller here. Let me just wait for that. Come on. Come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, it is going to be a rough takeoff here today, so... Alright, let's not waste any time. Let's go in and go ahead for our takeoff. Okay, it's pulling up. There we go. We didn't test our takeoff configuration, but I'm not too worried about that. Let's find out whether we can take off easily from here. Holding the center line, more or less. Aha. Oh my god. Oh, we barely made it off that runway. We barely made it off that runway. Gear up. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let me head back in here. Make sure I stay on top of this, hand flying the aircraft. Still on takeoff power here. That's okay. Put our flaps up. Okay. Push the nose down a little bit. There we go. Want to gain a bit of speed there. Flaps are up. And we are looking just fine. It's a little bit shaky here. That's all. Okay. Can turn on the autopilot for a second here. Turn on nav mode. And let's go towards maximum continuous on the power. Okay, we're looking just fine. We're looking just fine. Okay, I think we're alright for now. I'm not too sure. Not too sure, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's turn off this taxi and takeoff light here. Okay. Think we're looking okay. Yeah, we seem to be doing a fine job at the moment doing a nav. We're holding the pitch more or less at the moment. Let's go there. Let's go to IAS. Let the aircraft climb out a little bit on its own. But okay, let's try that. Okay, very bumpy here for some reason, but apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it out of Yongphulla at least. That departure was not easy. We barely made it out. We didn't even hit V1. So clearly something was wrong there, but we didn't hit V1, but hey, we made it out without incident, which is what matters. Okay, let's bring up the range on the ND. Okay, as we continue our journey here towards our cruising altitude. Why is the IAS mode not engaged? Come on. No, I want IAS mode. Not IAS mode there. Come on. I'm gonna give it a bit more of open up the thrust here a bit more. Okay, that is not too bad. Okay, good. Do we have anything? Okay, our speed is now increasing a little bit too much. I don't think we're doing well with the climb for some reason. So I'm going to ask for some VS here. And let me climb this thing out manually towards our cruising altitude here. Let's go a bit aggressive on the climb here, because for some reason the IAS thing did not work. I don't know if that was a mistake on my part. But we are passing very close by some hills. Too close for comfort. So I don't want to make any mistakes here. Alright. So, pretty much from here on out, there is nothing else to do for us except just enjoying the views and managing the climb. Now, the flight is very short here today, so we don't have much room to relax and enjoy the flight. So, we're gonna have to stay on top of everything here today. Look at the views there. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Look at that. Gorgeous indeed. Very, very nice. If we come back in here, the climb is going well enough. We're supposed to be at 18,000 feet over there. Let me switch to ND on the other display as well. Change it to arc mode and bring up the range so I have an idea of how far we are. We're not very far away from Paro, as you can already tell. We're very close by. So I gotta be quick here, because top of descent is right there, not too far at all. Okay, let me just show you guys a bit of views, just a little bit of views, and then we'll head back into the cockpit and see what's going on. Okay, we have reached our cruising altitude of 18,000 feet, and I'm just about realizing my mistake, which caused the IAS mode node to engage. I had the altitude set at 8,000 feet, not 18,000 feet, and we had already crossed 18,000. I mean, we had already crossed 8,000 feet. So there was no IAS left to catch. There was no altitude left to catch. We were already above it, and we were pushing the throttle too high for the aircraft to descend. So that is a mistake on my part, but now the display is so difficult to read, but now I've set up 18,000 feet, we've reached that, and our speed is slightly increasing. We've changed power management mode to cruise, and we're looking good as we head on towards Paro. Alright, so top of descent is right there. We've still got some time to kill. So I shall put on a few more views for you guys, and then I shall see you at top of descent, or when we take manual control, whichever. Very well. Alright everybody, welcome back into the cockpit. We are coming up on top of descent, as you can tell. We need to go down towards 11,800 feet, if I can actually see that on this thing. 11,800. Okay. Let's go to IAS mode and let's pull back on our throttle here. So we begin our descent to 11,800. Okay. So there we go. We've begun our descent to 11,800 feet. We reduce the range on that. Okay, we're coming up real quick on Paro here. 11,800 followed by about in 10 nautical miles. We need to be at around 10,000, which isn't too bad. Let's see how well we do here. Okay, we've got about 18 nautical miles to reach 11,800 at PR 712, which is coming up here. Let's see how that goes. Our descent is going just okay. Yeah, our descent is going just okay. So we're a little bit... Are we fast? No, we're not too fast. So I think we're okay. Let me just give it a little bit more of throttle. Just a little bit more. There we go. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Yeah, there we go. Brilliant. Okay. There we go. Yeah, basically idle throttle at the moment. I think we're gonna be just fine. Alright. Let me just have a look at what the passenger is seeing out the right hand side. Very, very beautiful view in the distance as well. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Look at that. Gorgeous stuff. Anyway. Let's take a look. The other side of the cabin. Looking very nice as we come into descend. Very nice graphics. Beautiful stuff. Anyway, let's head back into the cockpit for a second. One more time. 11,800 coming up quickly. I don't want to hit into these hills here. So let me just give it a little bit more of throttle. Just to flatten out our rate of descent just a little bit. So we avoid those hills quite comfortably. But apart from that, I think we're doing just fine. Yeah, I wanna avoid these hills a little bit more comfortably. So for that, I've just given it a little bit of throttle, as you can tell. And yeah. All right. What else do we have? Okay, I think got 10 more nautical miles before we need to be at 11,800. Let's reduce the range on this thing here. Let's go ahead and turn on our landing lights just in advance. Turn on the taxi lights in advance as well. I have no issues leaving them on for the moment. Passenger signs are on. They've been on throughout the flight. Not a problem. Okay. I think we'll be fine. But I might need to cut... Okay, 9,850. Okay, this is rough. Not sure if I should descend, but at the same time, I need to descend. So soon we'll take manual control and we'll see how the landing goes. We shall see. Okay. Alrighty. What else? What can we do here? Okay, 13,800. I'm gonna cut the throttle now so we can continue our descent. There we go. We're going down to idle. We should have our flaps down if we wanted to. You know what? Let's do that. Flaps down to position number 1. And we are descending down towards... Yeah, we're going to avoid that hill quite alright. The autopilot seems to be doing its job quite fine for the time being. We'll disengage it when we need to. Okay. Okay. Looking pretty good here. As you can tell, it's not an easy approach to fly into by any means, but the views hopefully make up for it. Very, very nice. Gorgeous stuff. Anyway. Okay, we should have been a little lower than this at this point. Our aircraft should begin on its turn, which at the moment it is not doing. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and take manual control here. I'm going to fly the aircraft in by hand. Okay, so let's begin a very nice steep turn here, trying our best to maintain that speed a little bit as much as possible. I'm gonna go ahead here and turn on our sky dolly in advance here, otherwise I have a feeling I won't be able to turn it on later on. The flight is quite perilous at the moment. Okay, so from here on out we're flying this thing in manually. Yeah, here we go. This is the crux of it all. We gotta reduce some speed somehow, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to cut down our speed. That is something that I'm struggling to do at the moment. Hopefully it won't be an issue. Let's find out. Gotta wind around the side of this mountain. Still struggling a little bit here to cut down that speed. Okay, I'm gonna drop the flap here in an attempt to help me stabilize it a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. It's a little better. A little bit better. There we go. We just need to wind down these. Oh, okay. Very nice. Very shaky here today for some reason. Not too shabby. We're looking all right here. We are looking all right. Okay. That's just fine by me. Let me drop the flap one more. Yes, please. Thank you. Perfect. That is looking good. That is looking good. Okay, I think we can kind of see, I think right around this. Okay, I think I have an idea where the airport is, but I'm not willing to take a gamble just yet. I'm just gonna fly straight down this valley for the time being, but I think I know where it is. Okay, I'm gonna drop the gear at this point, just so we're prepared. Is that the airport ahead of us? Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we can see the airport ahead of us. It is right about here. There we go. We're looking okay. I'm gonna open up the throttle slightly so we don't fall out of the sky here. Okay, that is looking good. I'm gonna open up the throttle slightly more. There we go. We're in landing configuration pretty much, and the airport is dead ahead of us. Okay, very nice. Just gonna fly here, right over this. There we go. Let's see if I can make this landing now. 500. Ooh, 500.
200.
Okay, a bit more throttle there. I don't want to stall as we come into land. Okay, there we go. We seem to be doing okay. And there's the runway. Beautiful. Lovely. Let's see how we make this thing. Okay, lining up, lining up.
200.
Flaps down, gear down. Lining up with runway.
100.
100.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, we're down. And reverse. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paro, Bhutan, and we've made a decent landing, a little off to the left of the center line there, but not too bad. Welcome to Paro, Bhutan. And as promised, a very nice, exciting flight here. Cut back on that throttle slightly. Let's turn our aircraft in. Obviously, we've got landing replays. Please don't go anywhere. We've got landing replays. Okay, let's find ourselves a nice little parking to tuck into. How about the one right here? And welcome. Beautiful looking airport. Once again, handcrafted here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Both 2020 and 2024, it's handcrafted. We'll take a look at it in a while once we park this thing in. Cut down on that throttle right there. And let's put on our parking brakes. There we go. Welcome to Paro. That was a very nice flight. Nice and easy. Now let's go check out how our landing went. And let's see if we were able to end it on a good note. Okay, let's go ahead and see how we landed. I've started the replay from a little behind here, just so we can appreciate the nature of this approach. Floating around there, nice and easy. Nice and easy. The good thing is that because of the mountains, it's shielded from all wind. So we don't have much wind by the time we reach the foot of the runway, which is fantastic news for us. Anyway, let's see. How did this go? How did this go? Okay. How badly off the center line were we? Okay, in, and okay, yeah. Definitely off to the side of the runway. Definitely off to the side of the runway, but apart from that, I think it was pretty decent. Yeah. Definitely off to the side of the runway, but apart from that, I think we're pretty decent. Let's go check out a few more landing replays. And then we shall have a look. Yeah, well, let's have a look at a few more landing replays just to see what we did. See it from the gear view. I should have stopped turning right about there and just pointed it straight down, but nonetheless, slightly off to the left. And touchdown. And okay. Yeah, alright. The reverse thrust did push our nose up there, so I should have put a little bit of forward pressure on the stick, but that's okay. Let's have a look at the replay from the cabin views, see how that went. You know what, before the cabin view I decided, well, let's have a look at this replay as well. It's a very nice view, so why not check it out? I feel like I could have made a better landing than this. I have made better landings at Paro than this. But nonetheless, it wasn't the worst in the world, but definitely way off to the left than I would have wanted to. Yeah, that is for sure. Definitely way off to the left than I wanted to. But, you know, so let's see. Cabin views. Okay, let's see what the passenger experienced here in the cabin view. Alrighty. Let's have a look. Okay. That was not too bad. That sound was way worse than the actual vibration, so that wasn't too bad at all. Wasn't too shabby. Okay. Let's see what we can see from the other side. Last landing replay here. After which we shall go ahead and shut down our ATR aircraft. And let's see. Let us see. Okay. Okay. It's not too bad. That is not too bad. And that is pretty much how regional carriers land. It wasn't a hard landing per se, but not the smoothest. All right. Excellent. Now let's go ahead and shut down our aircraft that we've parked in. And we'll take a look at the airport that we've just landed into. Handcrafted Paro. I do have an improvement, a little bit of a fix installed for Paro Airport as well. So we'll take a look at that. And then let's see. All right. Back in the cockpit here, what do we have? Let's put our flaps up. We got to clean up our aircraft here. So let's put our flaps up completely there. Remove that caution right there. I am going to shut down our engines and stuff like that. Gust lock on, parking brakes on. That we need to cut off our engines, right? So we'll do that in a bit. Let's turn our landing lights were already on. Yeah, they just became off because of the replay. That off, strobe lights off. Let's turn off our passenger signs as well. Let's go ahead and cut the condition levers. We'll feather it first, and then we shall cut it. There we go. Cut right there. Let's connect ground power. We'll turn that on. We'll put on the wheel choke, and then open up the doors. Beacon lights off. Nav lights can remain on for the time being. Emergency lights disarmed. That to dim. Oxygen supply can come off. Pitot heats off. Window heating off. Pumps off. What else? What else do we need to turn off here? This one is already off. We don't need to worry about it. Okay, I believe that is pretty much it. If we want to leave it here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's now go outside. Beautiful. We can request some deboarding from GSX. If it works. Is it going to work? Yes, it is. Okay. So deboarding according to GSX, not a problem at all. Let's go into the drone camera. And we shall take a look at Paro. There it is. Beautifully handcrafted airport of Paro. Now, as you can tell, I don't think the interiors are done here. No, the interiors are not modeled, but there is a parallax effect in the windows, which is once again very, very nice to look at from the outside. It adds that extra layer of realism. Very photorealistic grotto there. Very nice. This is modeled really, really beautiful. Really, really beautifully modeled stuff. Look at that. That is very nice. That is very nice. Yep. Very nice. Look at that. Now, is that the ATC tower? I'm not too sure, but I think it is. It's very nice. There's another structure here, which I'm not sure what it is, but all of it, all in all, excellent stuff. Oh, there we go. We can see our passengers deboarding. So yes, we did board passengers from Yongphulla. We didn't fly an empty aircraft. Although we missed the boarding process, there it is. We didn't see that, we weren't able to observe the boarding process rather. Oh, there's a military service woman right there. Anyway, our passengers deboarding, cargo waiting on the passengers. I'm pretty sure passenger bus there. We really don't need a passenger bus because the terminal is right here, but nonetheless, GSX doesn't know that. Anyway, beautiful scenery in and around Paro. I do have extra landmarks for Paro installed as well in and around Bhutan near the Thimphu region. I'll have a flight taking a closer look at all of this entire region very, very soon. But as you can but as you can see, not T, lovely little details added by that extra augmentation that I've installed from flightsim.to for the Paro airport. Very nice. Beautiful looking stuff. Look at that. Very nice gate as we drive into the airport, I believe. Yep. Very, very cool. Does it have a sign outside it? I don't know. Okay, anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed that little flight. If you did, leave a like and consider subscribing. It helps out the channel a lot. Helps me to find the motivation to continue making the videos. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye.